All right. Today we're here with sixth grade teacher Kelley Starkey from Chinook. And Kelley started Building Thinking Classrooms last year in her classroom. And I wanted to ask Kelley, so how did you come about and start your practice with Building Thinking Classrooms?
So I always am thinking about how can I make my class more engaging and more meaningful for students, because I think math classes sometimes can kind of be like, you're learning how to do these different skills with numbers, and I mean, sometimes it's like, who cares, right? Kids can just get bored and tuned out, and like, how long is class? When is it over? And I just always am trying to make it be just more engaging, and so kids can make connections with the math, because I think that's really powerful. And last summer, my friend and colleague, wonderful math teacher, Dana Lamb, had mentioned that she kept seeing things about this book, Building Thinking Classrooms. And so she was like, I'm going to read it. Would you be interested in reading it? And I was like, heck yeah, let's go for it. So she and I both read it, as well as another teacher in our building, Shannon Scott. And so through that reading is how I got, kind of all jazzed up about it.
Nice, nice.
So, Kelley, can you comment a bit on what you noticed as far as student engagement and student relationships and how that changed through this practice?
For sure. So after implementing a lot of the strategies from the book, my student engagement increased, I don't know, like, I don't want to say exponentially, but it definitely increased a lot, because students are no longer just sitting in their desks, working on their math individually. They are up and in groups, and in groups that change on a regular basis, having to have mathematical discourse about problems, solving problems in a visible way, sharing their thinking, helping each other out. Math class like flies by now. And the kids say that all the time, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's over already. As far as student relationships, the nature of what we do in class, which is using rotating groups that are randomly assigned every time we do groups. It was funny, because at first kids were really uncomfortable with it, and they were like really awkward, and they didn't want to talk to each other. And it took a few rounds of doing it for them to start to feel comfortable. And once they did, it was funny, because if they ended up in a group with the same person more than one, or not more than once, but like a few times in a row, they would be like, oh my gosh, we're together again. Can't we be with somebody else? And so they really liked working with different people, and different leaders sort of emerged, not necessarily personalities that you would like easily identify as leaders in class, but like within their groups, kids sort of being cheerleaders for each other or coaches for each other. It was just really wonderful to see.
That's great. Can you give any advice to people who are trying this for the first time?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's scary. I think the hardest part is like doing it for the first time. It took me a while to work up the courage to do it. And I had to reach the point where I was like, okay, I'm just going to go for this. And it could be a total disaster or it could work out well. And either way, I'm going to learn something, and I'll just build from that. And so having the courage to do it was the hardest part. And another thing that was really valuable was debriefing with the kids. So like really setting the expectation beforehand, but then having some time afterwards to talk to them about what they thought worked well and what they didn't. And, did they have enough time to do the activity, and getting their feedback was really helpful as well.
one last question I was going to ask is, how do you feel it changed math comprehension or understanding for students?
Do you know what I noticed is how much it changed their vocabulary? Because we have been working on vocabulary, all year long, as you do, but when they were talking to each other and using the mathematical vocabulary, it was like, yes, it was the best. I got a little, I'm enthusiastic person. I think sometimes they were like, oh my God. But I would be so excited when I would hear them using their mathematical vocabulary.
Nice. And then for you as a teacher, any changes or, transformations for you?
I learned a lot, which was nice. I learned a lot about, my students, and I learned a lot about how to make things just more interesting and fun for like all of us. It sort of re-energized my teaching practice, because it was just, like I said, I get enthusiastic, but it was just such fun. Like the positive energy in my classroom was what inspired me to keep going with it.
Wow. Kelley, thank you so much for taking time today and recording this. I'm so excited to have you in our Building Thinking Classrooms group, and I'm so excited to work with you again this year. Take care. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.